let's just reflect a little bit. I know it is ECB day, but it's interesting that Putin starts his conversation with terrorism before the Turkish situation escalated to the current point that we're at. There was that movement of slight rapprochement from the West, George.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we should be surprised that this is the kind of the key motif, you know, in the president's speech. Last year, this time, actually, it was just a ramble about kind of everything, dominated by the Ukraine and why, you know, the West is against us and, you know, we're justified in doing this and, you know, Pan-Slavic history and all this kind of thing. The interesting thing is two things had happened on the eve of that speech last year, which are now actually, I think, being, which is certainly going to be manifest in his speech today. I mean, on the eve of that speech, there was an explosion, I mean, quite a violent incident in Chechnya. And there was a kind of a report about the severity of the economic dislocation which was coming to Russia as a consequence of the decline in the ruble and, you know, sanctions and so on and so forth. Now, these two things actually, you know, terrorism and the economic dislocation in Russia have now dominated Russia for this year. I mean, they do have very strong interest to try to, you know, reach some kind of rapprochement with the West. Whether that's possible, because there are so many, you know, there's so many narratives going on between Russia and the West that I'm not sure, but I mean, there's an interest there.
There are, and if we think about it, they didn't meet. Putin and Erdogan didn't meet. It's as if the Turks tried to sort of step back a little bit over last weekend in the ratcheting of their language, but Putin did not meet with Erdogan, and if anything, these sanctions, these tourism sanctions, are really going to have quite an impact if and when they come to bear. Well, they're already started.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's, you know, it's obviously an issue. And when you're looking into the future and you're looking at policymakers elsewhere, you're wondering whether 2016 is that year which Citigroup is talking about, that politics replaces economics as the driver of markets.
Some of the headlines, gentlemen, just from the translation coming through there, Putin says that Turkey is making money from Syria. So any kind of sort of rhetoric stepping back certainly doesn't seem to be on the agenda today. Putin says terrorists are using money from Turkey. These are two quite aggressive headlines. To me, that sounds like a stepping up of rhetoric against Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, Turkey's ambivalent, or equivocal, I should say, role in the whole of what's going on in the Middle East and with IS and, you know, so on. I mean, I don't really know how anybody's going to resolve that, but it is an equivocal role. Quite clearly, you know, the Russians are very, very hacked off for understandable reasons.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously that's a kind of a top level, you know, I mean, away from Vienna kind of thing, issue that I think, you know, the West and the Russians are going to have to kind of figure out how they're going to deal with that.
OK, I mean, we'll close on this and get on to the ECB. Putin says that Russian pilot was shot in the back. Putin says that Turkey should know that shooting down a plane was backstabbing, again, referring back to that kind of rhetoric.